Are you dying with all the social media stuff and you're trying to figure out AI agents and everything's going insane and you're trying to figure out how to live your life with all of this stuff that's automated and new? Well, I think I may have found the thing for you. Well, maybe. The whole point here is that we test it. And what are we testing today? Relay.app. It might be the answer you're waiting for, it may not be. But the big question today is to figure out if it actually delivers or if it's just another tab that you're going to have to remember to log into and do all of this stuff with. When you first open Relay.app, you're greeted with a clean, organized dashboard that immediately shows you a unified inbox of all of, well, a lot of things. The point is, again, with points, is that it's trying to make things easy for you to look at, easy for you to know where to go next, but also easy for you to work with. And I think that's one of the best things with tools like this. It's a workflow. It wants you to work with it easily, and it doesn't want you to feel like you can't figure out life anymore. That's what it's trying to solve. Rather than going across different places, it wants you to go to one place, and it wants to be the place for you. Welcome to GBRLIFE Reviews, where I test the tools, apps, and platforms so you don't waste your time, your energy, or your money, just mine. And today, like I said, we're going into Relay.app and figuring out whether or not it's right for you, but also determining whether or not you're going to use chapters on this, because remember, those are below if you need them. Now let's get into what I like, what I don't like, the pricing, and if this is actually even worth it. But first, as always, what I like. Okay, so when we're looking at the first thing, it's a workflow app. You see a workflow. You see, how can I help? And all of you who hate AI immediately say, I don't like it, I don't want to do anything with it. And look, here's something I absolutely like right off the bat. I don't have to use this, but it's there. And frankly, in most of these situations, it's going to be there. In most of these tools, they're not taking the stuff out, they're adding it in. But that doesn't mean that every single time you see AI as an option, you should automatically disregard. It means tell the companies that you don't want it by not using it. Because if they're paying all those tokens and getting all those API keys and everything to have this happen for you, within their tool, you get to choose not to use it and them waste their money. They'll remove it. Until then, you can also go over to something like this and use the workflow. And here's the other thing here as well. And one of the reasons I went into Relay.app for this week, it's because if anybody wants to do the opposite and go very into AI and go into AI agents, knowing and understanding a workflow is going to really help you know and understand my review from last week on Claude Console, really explaining agents. Not really explaining agents, kind of giving you the backbone of agents to help all of you get into what is new and how to use it. So this right here is a very basic workflow that I created. And off to the side, you get to see create new. You can do new workflow. You can do an MCP server, a sequence, a table, or a folder. Now, if you're going into doing something like a folder, that's really literally all it is. It's just doing a folder. You can go over to your server and pick a client right over here, and then you would name your server, and you can also add it to the folder that you may have already created. You can do a sequence, and again, you still have this here to help you if you freak out and you're like, I don't know what to do. You can use the editor. You can go in and add your steps. You can import not input. Can I talk today? Is this just a possibility? You can input, as it states, from workflows that you already created prior, which remember this was over here, or you can do an output from or to a workflow. Now, the other option is a table. You can name your table, new folder, and then go back over to table. You can now create a table of table 1, and there is your beautiful table. And you continue from here. Now, you can add in records, you can sort, you can do different visibility. Adding in a record is very easy. You just pressing in this. You can add in your text, number, checkbox, dates, URLs, and this is also going to be something you may want or need depending on what you're doing with your workflow. What does that mean? If you don't want to use Google Sheets or something that's out there in the internet, you can use something like this, and then you would be able to connect it with your sequence or your workflow. So they have that internal. And then you can also look at your runs, your apps. Runs are just how many times you're doing your workflow. You can look at your apps and you can search. So what do I like from all of this? That it's very clean when you're doing this and you're not trying to figure out where to go in the most basic ways because all of that is right in front of you. Now, it's not in front of you in the way that it's going to tell you a template. So we'll get into what I don't like in a moment, but it is able to be used immediately. The downside between this and something like a tool like Make is it's going to give you templates right in front of you and you'll be able to click from there and know what to do. Whereas this is like, you have to have an idea of what a workflow is. And that's not a bad thing because in some ways, those other tools make you a little more dependent on templates. A tool like this does make it very easy for you to create something without actually having to know how to do that. And that's one of the reasons it's a good thing. And I'm listing it under the what I like. So here's an example of a workflow. If you're looking over here, for example, in my workflow, and say I want to add in something, you just press plus. And when this is starting to begin with, it's just going to show the plus sign. You go over here, you press on what you're looking for. In this case, I said I wanted to add a new item. So I just went to workflow and then I added, this is towards the end, I just added a new item and it said new item. From there, I wanted to post something else and went ahead and said I was looking for an app and I went for Discord, which was right here. Now, this has a ridiculous amount of apps to work with. You've got your ClickUps and your Notions for your project management tools. You also have documentation tools or sites and apps and programs, DocuSign. You've got Dropbox in there. You've got a whole bunch of Google options. You have your social media options, which is why this is really great for people who are doing some sort of social media. You have your MailChimps for those who are doing newsletters. Like myself, I have a newsletter. You want that newsletter? You should just go click on that below and then, do what you got to do. Sign up so that you always know what's going on GBR Life, which is a review, blogs, vlogs, podcasts, you name it. It's here. You're missing out. Go get that newsletter. Anyway, so then you have also your Outlook, I know. It's AI. Oh my goodness. It is AI. There's ChatGPT. It also has Claude. I think it's Anthropic up here. Anthropic right there. There's your Claude. I wonder, does it have Grok? Because Grok is in a lot of places, but not everywhere. I don't see it, but it does have the other two main ones. I know a lot of people use Grok though. That being said, that doesn't mean that you have to pay for any of that stuff because remember, those places also have free plans in order to use that. And the other thing I really liked is that if you're going to go and click into something, it will actually stop you immediately if it has something that you need to pay for. So you'll know that when you go and start clicking in to go use it. So that's kind of nice. And then essentially you create that. And all I did was say, hey, pull from my website and then post a message onto Discord and say, have you checked out the latest on GBRLIFE.com? This is what you may have missed. And I went ahead and I added this right here, which sounds scary, but it's not, I promise. And also when you connect it, of course, it's going to show all of the different rooms that you can go in from Discord. So it will actually pull everything from the location that you are in from whatever it is that you're connecting from. So if you're doing MailChimp, it may want to ask you like, which campaign are you using? If you're using something like Instagram, which one of your profiles do you want to use? And you can do something like this, like automatically post a message. So when you're looking at this right over here, you can add in your link. You can add in an attachment. You can add in from that. And this was as simple as going over to data, because I already added this. I can add in the date and time. I can go over to utilities and add in some sort of a trigger, or this item that I just did right here and say, okay, I want to post this, but I want people to actually get it. So I'm going to press RSS from URL. Ta-da. It's exactly what you just saw. Okay. And then actually I want a little space there. And then I'm just going to press done. And then I need to run this. I need to see whether or not this is actually something that's going to work. Let's do a little test run. And which one do I want to do? I'll do the one afterwards because I already tested this one out. Start run. That's it. It is completed. So now we'll want to check on that. So let me go ahead and bring up Discord and show all of you. You have the one that I did just now. It automatically pulled it in and gave you the link directly to see it. Now, if you see this multiple times on a Discord, you saw where I did it. You saw how I created it, and probably I'll just go ahead and keep this. It's pretty awesome. I can talk to you directly from my Discord, and yeah, you can just see exactly what's going on immediately because I made it automated. Maybe I'm automated. Maybe I am AI. You know, a lot of people have said that in some of my stuff, and I'm like, guys, I know I'm awesome. I know I'm the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, but I'm not AI. That's crazy. That's so crazy you think I'm AI. Oh my God. That's what it meant, right? That's what we're going to say it means. Anyways, so now that you see how easy it is, if you're thinking, no, it's not easy, I don't know how to do this, remember, you do have the option of using AI with this. You don't have to do all of this by yourself. You can access the chatbot right here. It's right off to the side over here when you're inside of one of these. You can keep it off right there and just ask. And if you really don't want to use AI, you can probably just go into a YouTube tutorial, just watch it, and then it'll tell you which one to click on and how to make that workflow for you. But it is very basic. It's just, what app do you want to connect? Do you want to use AI? How do you want it to flow? Are you wanting a human to actually come in and select something while it's going through this process? Like, hey, don't just do it. Make sure that I verify it first. You've got your HTTP request, which is like kind of going through the internet and looking for things, a little bit of your research. You've got sequences. And then you have your connected apps right here. YouTube is one of them. There's a lot of different options, but you can see them all from this right here, as we discussed earlier, including 11 Labs. Look at that. So it's not scary, but understanding a workflow will help you understand how to create an AI agent because you have to be this detailed. You have to know and understand that this has to be pulled, and then it needs to go over here. And then when you go over here, what do you want it to say? And what is it referencing if you're adding in that link? You may think it's redundant. It's not. It needs to know exactly what you want to do. If you can't explain exactly what you want it to do, then it can only assume. And AI hallucinates. Don't let it hallucinate with your stuff. You will look like a crazy person because AI hallucinated and what you posted wasn't real. And it's like, oh, that was a lie. I didn't know. It knew. So having human intervention is always a good thing when it comes to all this. It's not quite there yet. But also understanding this really helps to, get you understanding where we're going next. So this is all really great and dandy, but what is it that I don't like? I think I did touch on a few things I didn't like already, but I'm not a fan that there are no templates here. I'm sure there's an option for you to get into maybe like help and use it that way, but it's not right in front of you, and that's not something I like for anybody. And then also, you can look at your runs, but you can't really look at this really good analysis of what you've done and how did it work or how many times you had to run this thing in order to make it work. I don't think that this is detailed enough. I want to have a little more information on some analytics of what I'm doing and how it's working and flowing. You're not going to get that type of deeper analysis here. And then the other thing is that this is a great, fun tool, but it is going to take time to set up. It's just the way that this stuff is. Right now, you do have to be a big part of the process in order to get any of this kind of stuff set up. And if you don't set it up yourself and you try to do something where it's just like a quick, you're asking this to get it done, again, AI hallucinates and things happen where it just starts going wonky and insane. And you do need to be proactive about making sure that this is still flowing correctly. I wouldn't just do something like this and assume that every single time I go into Discord, it's going to keep giving the latest and greatest blog post, because that's what I was doing, blog post out there. I need to actually double check that it's not repeating the exact same one over and over again. So even if it worked, and it's worked for a good week or two, make sure you're going in and still double checking if you're using a tool like this. So it's not going to be as consistent as I would absolutely love. That's just one of the issues with things like this. So let's talk what all of this is actually going to cost. Okay, so we've got your free tier, we've got your professional, and we've got team. Now, on here, for free, you can have one user, 200 steps, so that's every single time you're pressing plus and then getting it to do the next thing. And then you also have 500 AI credits a month. So every time you talk to That AI tool, how do you do this? Where do I put that? That is using your credits. Every single time you talk to it at all is using credits. So 500 AI credits a month is not a lot. And that can go very quickly, especially when you're setting up something a little more complex the first time around. So your free tool or not tool, your free tier is really good, but it's not perfect in giving you what you may need if you need extra help. For myself, for example, I didn't really need to do too much in order to do something so basic like that. So I used 2 steps and I used no AI credits. So this could work for someone like myself, but I've done this before. If you're new to it, you may actually want to start with professional. And this is where, let's also add this to what I don't like, but we're on the pricing side of things. It's $19. I don't love that. And this is your monthly. If you go into monthly, it's $38. You're saving 50% if you go annual, but that's also a lot of money to pay $20 a month, being billed a whole $228 annually to use a tool like this. And you get 750 steps. And if you go up any more than that, you're going to keep adding to your bill. And this can go all the way up to $889, and that's up to 1 million steps. Now, you do have a lot more AI credits. I would say that this is a little more consistent with the way that people use AI today if you're just having, your therapy sessions. Or you go over to your team side and you have 118 for a team for 10 users, and you have 1,500 steps a month and 2,000 AI credits, and that goes up exponentially because you're talking about multiple people and they're going to make you pay for it. You just go up to 3,000 steps and you're at $158. That's monthly. And if you go annual billing, that says it's $708 annual, and it goes up to $79 for your 3,000 steps and up. And so I would say with this entire thing, it's very clear. If you're going to use this tool, you want to do the annual because they've basically made it only worth it to do it that way. And I'm not going to say that this price point is right or best for anyone, but I love that they have this free tier because this means you can try it, see if you like it, see if it actually works for you. And if it does, because it's something that's going to help you understand how to keep moving forward with AI agents, this is actually a very good idea. Get used to it, try it out, and then go watch my video on Claude Console so that you can get set up with some API keys and you can get started with some agents and kind of see behind the scenes with the bigger stuff. Which brings us into our next big question. Is it worth it? Yes, with very particular conditions. I hate to say this, but I don't think you should love unconditionally. Not with this one. This one, you need to have conditions on the love. Truly. It's a beautiful tool, but the price is that's a lot. And I will stay on that forever. If you are overcharging and it is not industry standard, I clock that because at the end of the day, while this is worth using and definitely worth checking out, do we all look like we're made of money at this point? You guys keep raising your prices. Stop it with that. But I will say that this is worth it for anybody who is doing maybe some sort of content creation, or anybody who really needs to save some time and mental energy on having to go out there and constantly figure out how you're doing things and what you're doing and what, where, who, what, where, when, why. That's what I'm trying to say. If that's what your life is like, I would absolutely say that this is something worth looking into. This is also worth it if you are someone who really wants to start the process of understanding how to get into AI agents, but you still can't figure out how to deal with workflows. And understanding workflows, like I've said multiple times, is really going to help you understand how to talk to your AI tool in order to figure out how to create that agent next. Because it goes into coding, and that portion, it's not hard because you don't have to be the one to code, but you do need to know what to tell it to do next. So workflows are really, really important. Tinker around, figure it out, and I think it's worth it for those who are using it on that free standard. All of this is the very reason why I'm giving the GBRLIFE rating of a 3 out of 5. It's a pretty good tool. It has that free tier that's really saving it right now, that gives you the opportunity to learn some things. And I like that it doesn't give you the cheat sheets on using this with templates. I like that you have to kind of go in and start learning how to do that workflow yourself and figuring out what you want. instead of someone else telling you, oh, well, this is how you do it. Meanwhile, it's not really what you wanted to begin with, and you kind of give up on it and you just move on. You're like, this is whatever. This one gives you that option. But that pricing, I can't stand by that one because you have to use the annual option, and people may not want to use this forever. Maybe they're just using it to learn. Maybe they're using it to grow a little bit in their lives. It's not worth having to pay $228 for the most basic tier other than your free plan, and then you're locked into that for a year. And then every year you have to remember to cancel. So I don't know about that, but I would really love to know what you think. Have you used Relay.app before? Are you using any other workflow apps? Drop that in the comments below. But that is it for this week. And if you want more, remember, you can check out the companion blog over at GBRLIFE.com. It's always linked below. And if you want another tool right now, check out GBRLIFE Reviews playlist, especially my review from last week on Claude Console. I've mentioned it before, but you've now got the workflow option, or at least one of them. Are AI agents your next step forward? Well, you can find that out when you watch that one next. And remember, with everything on GBRLIFE.com and my fabulous Mama Koala clothing line, you don't have to be without GBRLIFE in your life. Now go check out the next review, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!
Not your bit less, logging through the motherhood maze with GBR Life.